Radio Liberty, in association with Eagle's Nest Cigarettes, proudly welcomes you to New Freeland with Lindsay Perigo.
And a very good morning to you. Welcome to New Freeland for this, the 15th morning of September 1995. This morning, IRN political editor Barry Soper reviews the political week. Business Roundtable Executive Director Roger Kerr talks about the Mount Pelerin Conference in South Africa. Christopher Miles hops onto the soapbox this morning to talk about socialism. University of Auckland law professor Bill Hodge on a proposal for the restructuring of Parliament into separate Māori and Pākehā houses. And the Governor of the Reserve Bank, Dr. Don Brash, talks about yesterday's economic forecast statement. First, national news. Here's John.
Good morning. It's 7:07.
Forecasting for Auckland today, fine weather, northerly breezes, maximum temperature 16, Hamilton fine, light winds, maximum 16, Wellington cloudy periods, some drizzle, strong northerlies 15, and Christchurch high cloud, gusty northwesterly winds, maximum temperature 21 degrees. All airports open, domestic flights on time.
You're in New Freeland with Lindsay Perigo, a political correctness-free zone.
Well, you hear a lot on the station about rights. You hear a lot in the world at large about rights. On the face of it, this is the age of rights. The rights of women, the rights of gays, the rights of children, the rights of animals, the rights of the ecosystem. Rights everywhere, but not a genuine right in sight. For what we're talking about and what the world at large is talking about are two entirely different things. The world claims to be promoting minority rights. We're upholding the rights of the smallest minority of all, the individual, and they are his rights on which the world is trampling. I was set on this train of thought in the wake of the International Women's Conference in Beijing. There, the toss was argued back and forth about this and that policy and custom and whether or not it was consistent with the rights of women. In most cases, it probably wasn't. But I wish someone had got up and loudly proclaimed there are no such things as specifically women's rights. There are only individual rights, possessed equally by men and women. And by this yardstick, which of the delegations would be able to pass judgment with moral impunity on any of the others? Hillary Clinton delivered an eloquent denunciation of the communist regime's suppression of freedom of speech and movement and its enforced sterilization and abortion policies. Yet this is the same Hillary Clinton who supports affirmative action and women's quota policies in the United States, policies which, at taxpayer expense, directly violate the rights of employers and of white males generally. This is the same Hillary Clinton who tried to enslave the entire medical profession of the United States. This is the same Hillary Clinton who believes that there is such a thing as the right to health care and the right to a job, which are not mentioned in the founding documents of her nation, provided by riding roughshod over the rights to life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, which are. It would well behove Hillary Clinton to set her own philosophical house in order, as it would the Iranian delegation. Just a few days ago, there was a report that some women in Iran had been sentenced to vicious floggings for the crime of dancing in public with men. What contribution so barbarous a country could possibly make to the cause of women's rights, I can't begin to imagine. Likewise, the Catholics present, they who believe that the answer to making abortion compulsory is to make it illegal. They who believe that the answer to making contraception compulsory is to declare it immoral and put the fear of God into Catholics who practice it. And little old New Zealand. Borrowing for a moment the collectivist premise that we're all responsible for what happens within these geographical borders, how high can we hold our heads? We were the first to give women the vote. Well, democracy, as I've often argued, is simply mob rule, and allowing women to participate in it is neither here nor there, as far as individual rights are concerned. We have a Ministry of Women's Affairs. Well, that's just a taxpayer-funded scam, whereby otherwise unemployable man-haters are enabled to trot out the latest sociological gobbledygook and convene lesbian lunches. Our strongest real claim to fame is that, to an extent greater than most societies, we do treat women as human individuals whose gender is irrelevant and who have the same rights to life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, including career path, as other human individuals. But that's been a long time coming and is not identified as such, least of all by those at the forefront of the women's movement who are busy trying to replace one form of gender chauvinism with another. So let's hear it for the rights of the individual, be he, and I mean he to include she, as it always did in the days when grammar and style were important, be he male or female, gay or straight, white or black, brown or piebald, Jew or Arab. And let's reiterate the fact that one person's rights do not include a mandate to tread on the rights of another. That would seriously give us pause in a nation like communist China and involve repealing most of our legislation that claims to uphold human rights but in actual fact violates them. For details, stay tuned to this station.
Radio Liberty and Bloomberg. Immediate, accurate business news.
At the Financial Markets Desk, I'm David Haffenripper.
Radio Liberty. Thought radio, not thought police.
You've got to remember that the Voluntary Euthanasia Society throughout this country has about 3,000 members. So it's more of a network, if you like, than if I was just doing it by myself.
Where would you expect the main opposition to come from? Would you expect the churches, for example, to mobilise against the petition?
Oh, yes, but I mean, there's not much that they can do. I mean, they've lost the public battle, and they know that. That's why they work on individual MPs. Yes, I would. The hierarchy of the churches, not the churches. I mean, for example, the hierarchy of the Catholic Church have just recently put out a pastoral letter on it. I think it was almost yesterday, saying how dreadful and bad it was. But there are many, many Catholics who support voluntary euthanasia. I mean, gosh, not everyone listens to the Pope, certainly, about birth control, thankfully. So I think the hierarchies of the churches have difficulty with it, so they're coming from a religious perspective. What irritates me about that is that nobody's denying them the right to refuse that, or to say this isn't right for us, it's our moral choice. But what they're trying to do is impose their morality on you and me, and I find that objectionable.
Well, we do too. You know that we support you on this one, Michael. Good luck with it, and thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you very much for your support.
Michael Laws, Hawke's Bay MP, takes time to 28 minutes to 8, and looking ahead now to 9 o'clock and Free Speak with Delicious Deborah. What have we got this morning?
I know you don't write that, Lindsay.
I didn't even read it. Is that what it says?
My first guest this morning is Don Mackay from the Justice Department, talking about the current situation.
Radio Liberty. Mental massage with all the extras.
Oh, shucks, Lindsay. Nance and I are just having a drag on a good old eagle's nest. And we thought we'd tell you how much we admire your limitable stand against that there Resource Management Act. Land sakes, you can't even trim a tree or paint your house without greasing the palm of some boondoggle bureaucrat. Next thing, some darn fed from the EPA over here will be knocking on my door telling me I can't chop firewood on my ranch. That would... Oh, darn. That'll be the door. What did I tell you? So long now from your old friend, Dutch.
And now a community message from Radio Liberty.
Radio Liberty reminds you it's Thank God for Capitalism Week, when we appreciate the good things which capitalism has brought us.
So, on Monday, when you visit the supermarket, marvel at the choice of consumer goods available, all thanks to free market capitalism.
On Tuesday, remind yourself that the average life expectancy in countries where capitalism prospers continues to increase.
On Wednesday, watch media coverage of any one of a number of protest demonstrations and observe that freedom of speech is tolerated only in countries where capitalism rules.
On Thursday, look at any product from mountain bikes to footwear and ask yourself why the best products come from countries where capitalism thrives.
And on Friday, reflect on the changes in Eastern Europe and how every non-capitalist state there is electing to pursue a more market-oriented economy.
Radio Liberty, broadcasting as if capitalism mattered.
That was a community message from Radio Liberty.
This is Radio Liberty. It's 20 minutes to 8. Now, we were agreeably surprised, not to say astonished, in fact, to see the MP for Northern Māori, Tau Henare, speaking out recently against the righteous right and liberal left, who, according to Mr Henare, say legalising sports betting will lead to Māori spending welfare checks on gambling. His comments relate to the planned legislation to legalise sports betting in New Zealand. Now, of course, the practice does go on in spite of the silly law, and it does so in particular by New Zealanders betting across the Tasman with the Centrebet in Australia. So Mr Henare, we say, is right in his assertions, and he joins me right now. Very good morning, Mr Henare.
Good morning, Lindsay.
Now, you're fed up with the liberal left and the righteous right. That must just about make you a libertarian. You should come and join the staff here.
I could.